I see so many people trying to write out their trusts or their wills using AI. Welcome to Utah Business Spotlight. I'm your host, Peter Anthony. Hit like, hit subscribe. Today is a fantastic day. First, it's my birthday. So if you're seeing this in the future, it was my birthday and we had a great time. Now, generally, loving attorneys is very difficult for Peter Anthony, but I am with one of the attorneys in Utah that I absolutely go bananas for. Michael Glassford is here with us today, and he's going to shed some light on some big issues. His law firm is rocking it out for entrepreneurs. They specialize in that, and we're going to pick his brain, and I'm going to share it with you, and you're going to like and share it because you're going to want your friends to know everything that he's uncovering. So let's get started.
Thanks.
Michael, welcome.
Appreciate being here.
Oh, man, I'm super stoked, bro. And I'm excited that you took the time. I know you traveled back and forth. We're going to get a little into that. Share with everybody, though. Share your website and share some of the social places that they can find you.
Okay, well, the website's I have two websites, legallink.com and legallifeplan.com. It's a mouthful.
Legallifeplan.com. I love that one. And that's the main one.
That's the main one, yeah.
Yeah, Legal Life Plan. So it's a legal life plan. You're creating a lifeplan.com. I love it. It's super simple. It's not a mouthful. It's beautiful. But you have a good, strong social presence. So you're on Facebook and you're one of the admins at Connect Utah.
Correct.
So and it's a big, big group, right?
41,000 people in Utah.
41,000 people. Connect Utah. Man, I love that. 41,000 people. If you have businesses and you're seeing this on Connect Utah, reach out, DM me, DM Michael. We'll get your business on Utah Spotlight as well. So we're super excited. So we're here today, Bad Bet Productions in Sandy. We're on a podcast. We're going to talk about a couple of things that I think are important for people to know. So most people, when they market, we market for speed, efficiency. We market to an emotion.
Mm-hmm.
But because we're marketing to emotions, because people buy emotionally and they justify logically. But there's always something that you wish all your clients knew that you solved, that if they knew that you solved it, they wouldn't have they would buy your product, engage your services, recommend your solutions because they're big deals. What is the problem that you guys are solving right now for business owners and people that you wish that they knew so that they could avoid any future problems?
So it's kind of wrapped up in the name of the website, Legal Life Plan. Like when we talk about wills and trusts, we think about the day we die. And, that's very Klingon or very Viking of us to die well. But I kind of want to focus on the living days, the tens of thousands of other days. And an estate plan isn't just about the death day. That's an intended consequence to be ready for. But I want to protect the family now. I want to protect the business now while it's in its infancy, while it's getting started. And that's harder to explain when people are bootstrapping it up. And
yeah, well, they're starting out and their belief. And here's where most businesses fail because they fail to market and they fail to plan.
Correct.
And they all fail for the same reason. They run out of money, right? But it's not because they're trying to ramp up, because most businesses don't actually spend money on marketing in the beginning. They're shaking hands, kissing babies. What they are doing, like let's say take a restaurant, for example. Most restaurant owners spend so much time thinking about the color of the wall and the type of seating, and they don't realize that that's the last thing that people think about. They're interested in the service first. What's the experience like? And then the food becomes even secondary, unless you're going for Michelin star, which is a different category. But I agree with you. I mean, when we opened our businesses, we were hyper focused on using those pieces that you provide as marketing tools for our team. So one of the things, we set our salons up very similar to law firms, where you'd work towards partnership, and we financed that partnership with whole life insurance policies for each one of the key people, and then we overfunded them. We had a very sophisticated contract put together so that they can either take that cash lump sum or a portion of it, or they can use that cash lump sum to buy into the company. And it was great because we had 5 locations, and people became owners, and they wound up with ownership. It was awesome.
And that stuff's amazing. It's scary to the people that haven't done it before. And again, it's a mindset shift. And I tell this really stupid story that I'm caller number 9 on a radio show. Remember when we did that? And I win an all-inclusive trip to Vegas, including a car. Like, I'm the big winner, right? I'm so excited that I run to Las Vegas and buy the car on the Strip. And people are like, Michael, that's dumb. Why would you do that? I'm like, I don't know, but that's how we approach estate planning and business planning. We think that we have to arrive in a successful town before we drive the vehicle to get there.
Oh, man, that hits home. So you're saying that people are waiting, business owners are waiting until they're successful to create the successful protection plan.
Yes.
And what you're and I totally agree with that, because I watch so many of my friends do it. I watch my friends not put together the partnership agreements until the partnership's breaking up. It's like, where's the agreements? Oh, there are no agreements. How are there no agreements? Or where's the bylaws? Or where's all of the things that are necessary? I see this with families too, right? If the primary breadwinner passes and there's nothing in place for succession to the business, that really can hurt their family, can it?
Yes. And as a society, we're kind of backwards. We put all this planning in when things fail. When we get divorced, there's a parenting plan. When we file bankruptcy now, there's a payout plan. But we never think about putting these plans in place when we like each other, when we can agree to what happens if this or what happens if that.
Well, that's never going to happen, so I'm willing to give you, I don't need half of everything.
Parents all the time, they're like, oh, my kids won't fight over things. I'm like, well, how did that work for Adam and Eve and Cain?
Yeah, right. I guess, we have millennial of just examples of people who fight over and bicker over things. And it really tears a family apart versus brings them together. And you actually protect assets. I know it's very difficult to answer this type of question, but is it crazy money to start that? Is it expensive to start to protect my assets? Not the whole complete package, but how do I get started?
So it can be. It just depends on what we bring to the table and what our goals are. But if we're building it, from the start and expanding that as we go, you can cost in like the cost of an LLC as you buy a real estate property, or you can cost in the cost of the trust as you're just starting out. So you can space that cost out and then grow with it. Sometimes
it sounds like the best way to do it, right?
Absolutely. And then sometimes, companies are successful and they're midway through and we have to stop, and that kills momentum and rebuild everything that they haven't built before. And it's not too late until you're sued. We can always go back if you haven't done it. But once the problem hits the fan, it's too late for that.
So it sounds to me, because our second question was the best type of clients that you like to work with in your law firm. And it sounds like you really like grabbing clients at the start so that you can move them forward with grace and elegance and economy to their scale.
Yeah, that's the best time to start. It's kind of like the tree analogy. When's the best time to plant it 20 years ago? Next best time is right now. And I add a third component. If you're thinking about it, it is the best time.
Yeah, if you're thinking about it, you should have done it yesterday.
Yeah, right? Absolutely.
So when people get started, what are the 2 or 3 most important things that they need? I start a new business. Let's say I'm 40 years old, 35 years old. I start a business. I'm young. I'm relatively young. I'm 35 years old. I have a new business. I have a wife and I have 2 children. My children are just starting into school. I think my business is going to do about $1 million, $1.5 million, but I'm starting from zero. What package, what are the components that I need in process? And I'm going to add one more thing to the mix, one more variable. I'm starting with a partner.
Okay. So the first thing that everyone always asks is how much is the trust? And I say that it's like coming onto a car dealership and saying, how much is car? And the salesperson's like, well, which one? We got SUVs, we got sports cars, we got sedans. What's going to fit your family or your business or your situation? And it's very similar for me. If I just said $5,000 for every trust, I'm being unethical because that might not be what you need.
Right.
And so when I have a conversation with my clients, before we talk about your net worth, we're going to talk about all that social structure of your family and your business. Are you married? Is it a second marriage? Do you have children together? Minor children.
Is it a second marriage?
Yeah, second marriages can be tricky, but we can work with it if we have that in mind. Then we're going to talk about your business, your partnership. Is there a partnership agreement in place? How did you form your LLC? Did you listen to the Facebook Oracle and just go online and register? Because there's attorneys out there that are salivating to pierce your corporate veil. Sorry. But so we're going to talk about all that. And then finally, we're going to talk about what's your net worth, what's your goals, where we want to scale that to. Because a lot of times, you can have the best vehicle. You can have the coolest Lamborghini of trusts. But if you don't know how to drive a stick, what is that car going to do for you?
Oh, really?
So administration and systems and processes come into that.
Sure.
So I don't want to just go buy the best thing that somebody else has because I can't drive it.
Yeah. And one of the things that I think is really important as you're moving forward through this is that putting together the protection plans, the life plans for your company, they need to start with somebody that you trust, that you're the trusted advisor. I don't know ChatGPT, and ChatGPT surely never paid one of my bills, and it has no intention of ever paying my bills. So for me to ask it questions is interesting because maybe it'll give me a starting place, or maybe it'll give me some scope to ask you questions, but you're my guy. You're the person that I trust. You're the person who's going to protect my family. You're the Viking that's going to show up when things get rocky, or if I'm not there. That's what I want. I want to know who's that person, and you're that person. So share with me, and I know, so what is the one thing everybody needs? Not how much does it cost, but what should I have? Should I be putting all my things in a trust for my children because I own businesses and my wife owns businesses? I don't even know anything about that.
So the basic, component is a trust-based plan. And that's going to come with wills as a pour over, secondary protocol. We're going to put the living component in.
I leave you nothing.
Yeah, I've had
a brown paper bag with directions to the bus stop.
I had one fellow that gave directions to a safety deposit box in one city to another, and at the end of that, this was for an ex-girlfriend. She got $1.67. So
that's a true story.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
I don't recommend that because that comes with an energy that sits on the client and that's unhealthy. But that's what he wanted to do.
But it is a great gag.
So
it's the last laugh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. And so it went from that. That's actually, you should use that as a movie script or as the basis of putting it into a movie, because I know you're super creative.
You bring up movies, and this is most of our education for wills and trusts, right. And because they're in scripts. And I always ask, why are they in the scripts? Because they create trouble and drama, and we like to watch other people overcome drama. But we don't necessarily want that for our families. And that's specifically for wills. And I'm thinking like Knives Out, that was a great find out that the $94 million that their dad had for him is going to the home health care person. And she's like, we're not going to stand for that, right? And that's the surprise that we don't want. That ruins families.
Right.
And they weren't fighting over $94 million because the estate tax threshold would have taken 40%. So is it really worth killing your sister for $27 million? I don't know.
That's funny, man.
Sorry, spoilers.
But when you wrap things up in a trust, you protect it from that estate tax, or you can.
So we're mindful of it. So a trust, a revocable trust on the family balance sheet isn't going to change your position in taxation. There's some things that you can work with a CPA or a licensed accountant to make better choices. But it's just going to be on your Schedule C with your Social Security number. So it's not going to change the landscape too much. But we are mindful of estate tax. We're mindful of some other things, capital gains, conversations that need to be had and planned for.
I love it. Yeah, and it's funny, you had mentioned something that so many people, I mean, we Facebook's our biggest, the biggest group that watches us is Facebook and YouTube. And what's interesting is, the Facebook gods part the clouds and tell you, oh, you should do this. And my wife runs across it in her advocacy all the time, where people start sharing and spreading, and I don't want to say misinformation, just uneducated ideas that sounds good. You don't want to take tax advice from an Uber driver. Not to say that the Uber driver is wrong. They could be right, but there's a more likely chance that they're not.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we go to school. That's why I think education is still important. And I relate that to the same thing again with AI. I see so many people trying to write out their trusts or their wills using AI, and I liken it to, you could have just, it's not, AI is not so amazing. You could have bought those templates for $29 in the back of a magazine 40 or 50 years ago.
Yeah.
And they still would have had the same effect, which is maybe they worked, but there's a 99% chance that you missed something. How are you and your company and your team helping people mitigate through this confusion that AI knows all things? How are you doing that now? How are you setting yourself up for the future with?
So it's one of the misunderstandings of estate planning. People think that they're paying $3,000 for documents because that's what AI is providing, documents. They're not paying for documents. They're paying for the expertise, because I've been in court. I've seen where things fall apart. I see where things don't work, and I can apply that to the situation. And I always say that there's nothing wrong with the document you download, whether it's from a platform or whether it's AI. The problem is you, because you don't know what it's actually going to do for you.
Yeah.
And again, if you download like some rich celebrity's trust that they spent 20 grand on, that's great for them. How is that going to play in your situation?
Yeah. And I have friends that have shared their trusts at seminars, and it's like, okay, cool. I'm not you. This is, I'm sure, a great trust, but it's not my trust,
Mm-hmm.
And it just doesn't always work.
It's not a one size fit all, and very specific things go into it. And
cheap
so that's
is expensive.
Yeah.
Cheap is expensive, guys. And it's not really that expensive. I mean, getting an appointment with you and having you look over, the starting point is so much less expensive than an unsavory ending point, right? Where you're just going to get torn up, your estate's going to get torn up. That's when it's going to cost you, and that's terrible. So
fixing it is always more expensive than doing it right the first time.
Yeah, right on, man. Well, thank you so much for sharing. Again, we can find you at
it's legallifeplan.com.
legallifeplan.com. Michael Glassford, you're killing it. I'm just so proud of you just overall, because we didn't even get into your farm in Missouri, what you're doing with your lady, how you're traveling the world. You are truly a Viking, and I love it. But you're a hero. You're a superhero for the community, and I really feel like more people need to know you and protect themselves, especially over the next 36 to 72 months. I think it's going to get a little dicey, and we want to protect ourselves. So reach out to Michael and his team. He's happy to find ways to help you secure your businesses and protect your life and create that life plan that everybody's missing. Thank you so much, Michael. I appreciate you being on the Utah Spotlight today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Like, subscribe, and get something done. Cheap is expensive.